Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan, and regular guest James from editor of blockchaingamer.biz is also with us. How's it going, James?
All good, thanks. Excellent stuff.
You are so awesome.
Let's try another one. Which one do we like?
You go, girl.
That's not very appropriate, is it? Sorry. I need to rethink my zany sound strategy. Here we are with the start of March. It's been a lovely week in the UK. Very unseasonably sunny weather, and thoughts have turned to spring. At least for me. I don't know what it's been weather-wise where you've been. I think it's been sunny all over the UK, isn't it, this week?
Pretty much has, yeah. I mean, apart from yesterday, where we got an absolute downpour of rain, but I mean, you can't expect sunshine to last forever, I guess.
So anyway, we're thinking spring's in the air, and so this kind of podcast, we are broadly labelling it Crypto Spring, or are we seeing Crypto Spring? So obviously we've had Crypto Winter since really mid-November, hasn't it? I mean, that's not that the price of cryptocurrencies is necessarily the thing that we take most seriously, but certainly mid-November the whole thing collapsed and has been kind of bumping along the bottom since then. But we've seen some signs of life, or I think I've seen some signs of life. Have you seen signs of crypto spring over the last couple of weeks, James? Anything making you more optimistic?
I mean, there certainly has been. I mean, it's because of the recent developments in collaborations that we're seeing for Decentraland and Enjin that there's a lot more activity going on in terms of value for certain altcoins. Although I would say that for the major coins, it's still looking relatively static. But I mean, that's kind of to be expected. There's plenty of speculators within those markets.
I guess the one thing we can say is when markets are going down, when markets are bearish, the uncertainty is high because no one knows how low they're going to go. So obviously, Bitcoin famously was almost $20,000, and I kind of thought, without any doing any analysis at all, probably $5,000 seems about like a correct price for Bitcoin, which is a bit of a stupid thing to say. It's just an anchoring psychological thing from me. So actually, when it went down under kind of three, did it go under? Get the number at 3,000, and people just don't know how much further it's going to drop. And obviously, Ethereum went down to what was it, $75, wasn't it? I think. So now we're kind of back up a little bit, and I think it's just stability for a few weeks or months. Just kind of takes the steam out of the situation. So, the price of Bitcoin, I think, is irrelevant in terms of blockchain games. The price of Ethereum, perhaps, is a bit more interesting. But, as you kind of mentioned, what's been interesting over the last week. So if we look on Coinbase or CoinGecko, actually I'm looking at now. If I look at the top performing altcoins over the last, or the top performing cryptocurrencies, I should say, not just altcoins, over the last 7 days, Enjin coin is up almost 120%, and then Theta Network up almost 63%. So both of those are kind of game-related coins. So do we have some theories about why Enjin coin, which has come up from a very low base, why is that done so well, do we think?
Well, honestly, it's because of the sort of, initial speculation, and now it's just finding out what kind of depth it is. But, I mean, it started off with a couple of screenshots that were taken from a telecommunications company based out of South Korea, and it showed the Enjin coin's digital wallet being revealed on Samsung's Galaxy S10. So that has fueled a lot of initial excitement about just how Enjin's going to be used within the mobile gaming world, and as a result, it's led to a nice springboard upwards for the Enjin coin because people are starting to see its utility.
Well, yeah, I'll take a step back there. So I think what's interesting is that, yeah, so I think there's the S10, obviously a massive phone, probably will be the best selling phone of the year after whatever Apple does, certainly at the high end, has this kind of cryptocurrency feature, like some sort of soft. Well, it can't be a cold wallet, can it? Because it's in the phone, but some sort of less hot wallet than you would have normally. And it's some sort of hardware inbuilt into it, we think. So it looks like phones in general are going that direction. So obviously there's HTC have their, is it Exodus phone, isn't it? Yeah. And then there's the Sirin Labs people with their, is it Finny? So I guess what we'll see over time is just all high-end phones will have some sort of kind of more secure crypto element. That makes sense. So, but there, as you say, there were these screenshots, and as far as we can see, no one's officially commented from Enjin or Samsung about this. But they announced it. In fact, these big screenshot showing the Enjin wallet. Now, the reason that might be interesting is the Enjin wallet is a really good crypto wallet. It's been out for I think 2017 it launched. I've used it. It's pretty solid. It's a nice user interface. You can now do decentralized trading on it. Whether that means there's more utility for the Enjin coin is harder to kind of work out. So the Enjin coin, Enjin better than me. So what's the point behind the Enjin coin, James?
Well, behind it, there are a couple of mechanics that are inbuilt to it. So as a particular kind of coin, it has a direct link to the digital assets that are based within the multiverse. So out of all of its 24 multiverse integrated games, each of those have items that are minted with Enjin coin backed behind it. So it allows for it to have a residual price level. So that's one of them. The other one is that it acts generally as a universal currency between these various games into their own economies. And between this and how it works into the Samsung Galaxy S10 is that with these other partnerships, it gives a direct link to the marketplace at large, gives people the access to an exchange, and it provides a more flexible way for them to store, sell, and buy digital assets and then place them onto the soft slash hard wallet that the S10 is going to apparently come with. I think one of the other things too is that it provides a little bit of extra security for, I think, what it refers to as a private key store, but I don't know how secure that would be.
Yeah, well, better than other scenarios. So I think it's interesting. The thing to point out is at the moment that none of these Enjin coin based games are live. So there's no utility at the moment. I guess it makes sense that people kind of speculate that with the Enjin wallet integrated into one of the biggest selling kind of top end phones, then clearly there's going to be more demand than there is at the moment. So that kind of makes some sort of sense. And there could be some really nice integrations if people start making Enjin coin based games that were mobile games, because obviously then you'd play them directly through your phone. So that could be pretty nice integration. But at the moment, as far as I've looked at the Enjin multiverse, most of the high-end games are browser and PC, so not really suited to mobile. There are some mobile games, but as part of that, but they're pretty. What's the term I should use?
They're very rudimentary.
Yeah, they're rudimentary. They're kind of almost like prototypes. So I definitely think.
Yeah, I mean.
Go on, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say that. At most, in terms of development stage or the roadmap, we are seeing the vast majority of these multiverse or Enjin associated games within pre-sale. I mean, one of the only exceptions I can find for mobile gaming is Forest Night, but even then, they are currently undergoing a pre-sale fundraiser for developing and getting more staff on to actually speed up production, because it's only a one-man team.
It's just one man, isn't it? Yeah, it looks really nice, but yeah, a one-man team is not gonna set my heart alight, at least. So I think there is some value behind the speculation with Enjin. As I say, I think it's just a product. It's really nice. It's one of the better mobile wallets, and we are seeing in general as well this kind of rise of crypto mobile wallets that are then kind of integrating kind of dApps within that. But you have to say, can you play Axie Infinity on a mobile phone? Yes, you can. Is it a nice experience? No, it's not, because it's designed to be played in a landscape aspect ratio browser. It's designed to be played on a desktop browser. So I think it's, for me, the positive is not that Enjin coin's value has gone up, but more that it shows a stepping stone. It shows some of these more fundamental kind of building blocks being put into place that certainly in a year's time you'll go there's some game, some blockchain, so some mobile game with blockchain elements that is really doing gangbusters, and part of that will be to do with is Samsung really pushing it. So I think that's interesting. I think, and more widely, I think we're seeing it's now a kind of almost like a stereotype meme, but this kind of build not hold, or however you pronounce the horrible acronyms. But we are seeing a lot of people now building level. So we see that a little bit with Theta Network. So we mentioned them. Their ERC20 token was also up 63%. So they're a video peer-to-peer delivery. Let's get that right. A peer-to-peer video delivery system, which is kind of focused on gaming streamers at the moment. So that's interesting. Decentraland, the Mana token they're up. Not so much 20%, but we're seeing a lot of activity from them. So they're releasing, obviously the land sales are going on. They're releasing better tools in terms of kind of creator kind of editors and stuff. So we're seeing that. Another one mentioned, I'm just trying to find a bit here, Loom Network. So one of my favorites. Loom Network, really interesting, a sidechain for Ethereum. And we're seeing a lot of games who are, I don't know, I wouldn't really say necessarily totally live. I mean, Axie Infinity is live. There are live games with Loom, but I guess some of the more interesting ones built around these things like Crypto Wars are now in testing, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I think if anything, it was recently announced that during Ether's community conference in Paris that there'll be a live competition of this on this Crypto Wars system. So it's interesting. I mean, it reminds me a lot of Dominion when I used to play that, because it's the same kind of economic and strategy based system.
Yeah, I'm just playing it at the moment, and it's saying it's a network problem. I mean, we should point out with Crypto Wars that this is the second of 4 or second of 3 tests that they're doing.
I think it's the second of 4 that they've got going on. I think I remember Matthias, their company CEO, that was on their social media feed saying for those talking about the issue of network, they're currently on it, but I don't know how long that's going to be taking them.
It always seems to be whenever they start one of these test things, that it always tends to be a bit of a disaster, which is, I guess, kind of not a disaster, sorry, but they always have network problems. Oh, here we go, it's working now. So I think that's the reason they're doing all these tests, because they're realizing it is much harder, even with like a Loom sidechain thing that's, you know, a sidechain to Ethereum. So it's not so secure, but it's not waiting for these massive big blocks to close. It's not needing validation from all the nodes. It's, you know, it's a typical sidechain solution. So it is much faster than Ethereum, but it's still not as fast as potentially I think the Loom people want.
Well, yeah, but then again, I mean, it's had to deal with a absolute ton of initial pressure coming from the first and second competitions, because they've had a huge volume of traffic of people creating villages.
Well, when you say huge volume, how many people have they had? I don't think they've had that. You know, there's huge and there's huge. I mean, do we have numbers for how many people they had?
I think at this moment, I can't remember the exact statistic for number of people that were playing, but I know that over the space of a couple of hours, roughly 2,000 villages were created.
Okay, so 2,000 people. So, there we go. I mean, that, you know, I maybe shouldn't laugh, but, you know, for blockchain games at the moment, that's not a small sum. You know, that's a fairly good number of people. But I say, you know, we're not at the stage yet where we've got, you know, tens of thousands of people trying to use these scenarios, try these experiences, and I guess that's kind of really where we can start to say the green shoots of spring are actually trying to think of a gardening metaphor, taken root or something. You know, actually we can see there's they're not going to be wiped out again by another kind of crypto winter. This is too gardening. I think at the moment, I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's like small steps which I think are quite positive.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things is that this is exactly the reason why we're seeing like far more of these games and titles running on both desktop and computers, because it's really stress testing these different networks to see how they deal with various numbers of traffic. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing these games hitting handhelds for just the time being, because they need to come to grips with the fact that there needs to be a steady horizontal increase to how it can scale for more people.
I think for that reason, this is something that's come up in conferences and just a general kind of thought point. I think we have this idea of there's blockchain games, and then there's games running on a blockchain. And I think definitely what we're kind of seeing with the moment is, even with sidechains, where you can run a lot of stuff on a sidechain, or even with kind of EOS now and Tron, where you have these high speed blockchains. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. Even if you can do it, so like EOS Knights runs everything on the EOS blockchain, that's fine, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do that. You know, it's not a good user experience. What is a good user experience is you spend $10 on some sort of crypto kitty or a baseball character or whatever it is, and you have ownership of that and you can trade it. That's it's not just the low hanging fruit. That's kind of I think, you know, we don't need to look any further than that in blockchain games, and that's really games running on a blockchain. So I think that there's always this kind of, and I think increasingly over time it will become a tension between people who want to run everything on a blockchain, and there are some people, you know, like the guys at Zaya, who are running basically, you know, created a blockchain for making games. So, you know, they are blockchain games because there is, you know, anything that happens in that game happens on their network. That's one approach. There's a few others, people doing kind of similar things, and then there's this much kind of broader church of people where they're trying to find a sweet spot between their particular game, maybe their license. I was chatting to the guys at Lucid Site this week about Major League Baseball, and how they found the first version of that, and how they just kind of said there were lots of people who love baseball but just couldn't work out the blockchain side of it, you know. And this time, for the 2019 series. They've got to make it much easier just to onboard people. You've got to get rid of some of the blockchain stuff in the early stages, at least, so people can the people who are fans of baseball can enjoy the baseball bit of it. And when they care about buying something, that's when you tell them about the blockchain. So I think there's this tension, which actually I think as 2019 goes on will become more apparent, really, as the spring turns to summer. We all start to see these two diverging kind of trends, I think.
Well, exactly. There's going to be growing pains to any kind of growth, and whether it's gardening metaphors and analogies or blockchain game development as it matures for a larger audience, we're going to see this.
Yep. Cool, good. Well, I think that's all I have. We'll leave it on a positive note. Good, lovely. Thank you very much for your time, James. And thank you, listeners, for listening. Obviously, if you're interested in blockchain games, don't forget to subscribe. So every week we are chatting about what's going on in the world of blockchain games and doing more interviews with blockchain game developers to go a bit more in depth with what they're doing in terms of their projects. Doing these podcasts now, obviously also posting them on the YouTube site. So if you want to look at some visuals alongside our dulcet tones, you can go and find that at Blockchain Gaming World. But thanks for listening, and I hope you come back next week to find out what's going on.